Alright, guys, on this episode, we're going to talk about 7 golden rules for hosting your webinars. Engage and convert. Okay. People sometimes grab the red and say, there are too many webinars. I know. Okay. If you're familiar with it, probably not. But in other words, there are too much content on the internet. Okay, so what is the problem with webinars? Okay, webinars are helpful and useful. Okay, and they are great and they are transformative. But okay. So in full disclosure, I want to say my ratio between people who webinar attended and webinar registered for is not so good. I'm guessing yours isn't either. And I don't always stay until the end because sometimes there's something more important comes, and other times simply because distraction get better of me. Okay? It happens. Why? Let me say this to you about webinars. There are too many webinars, okay? Most of the webinars need a minimum of 30 to 45 minutes to teach you something valuable. That means that every webinar demands a huge percent of its audience available time in exchange for delivering the promise of a speech. Oh, and good luck keeping people attention as long when Instagram, text messages, and their to-do list are just one click away. And all of this, obviously a major dilemma for the webinar hosts, but far from a death knell. Okay, you need to create the highest quality, most focused webinar possible. Okay, you need to deliver first good audio quality. Okay, because I was in some webinars and you hear like, it sounds scrappy. You just want to run away from the webinar. Okay, so use a professional microphone, strong internet connection. Okay. Two, define the transformation. Okay, what I mean by that, okay, people should leave your webinar in another state, right? In a more positive and productive one. Else, why they should invest in your webinar? You should think about transformation from the very beginning of your planning. It should be the crux of your content. And anything that isn't leading the audience on the path toward the transformation should be removed. Say you are now planning a webinar to teach clumsy people how to walk and chew gum at the same time. Your title might be something like Never Trip Again, learn the 5 indisputable keys to walking and chewing a gum at the same time. That's a compelling promise. If I attend this webinar, I will be expect to transform into someone that knows these 5 elusive keys to walking and chewing gum at the same time. Okay? It's awesome. Because the journey to transformation is what keeps people so engaged, right? Now, three, make it memorable. Want to maximize the trust and authority of a potential webinar, help people achieve a transformation or solve a problem long after the event has ended. And the way to do it is simple, to make your presentation memorable. Here is an especially important point. As soon as your webinar ends, what are your attendees faced with? Emails to catch up on, dogs to walk, Facebook rabbit holes to get lost in, right? If you give people something memorable to walk away with, something will stick on their heads, something they might repeat later to themselves, and then I got a better chance of you helping them. 4. Plant your tent poles. If your job as a webinar host is to prop up your audience members if they start to sag, okay? Do you have a complex concept to explain? Perhaps you should follow explanation with a compelling story that illustrates it. You can lose an audience member temporarily without losing them for good. Planning tentpoles ahead of times will keep your audience engaged. 5 and last. Manage questions strategically. Right? Okay. Now, let me give you some tip. If the goal of the webinar is to sell something and someone asks you a question about the product, stop and answer the questions. Don't accept the person to wait around until the end. Plus, if the one person has a question, then other people probably have the same question. By stopping to answer it, it might overcome 10 objections at once. If a question come in that seeks immediate clarification on a statement or a slide, stop and answer the question. Right? Cool. So you don't want to create experience that your audience waiting for questions. So set the proper expectation about questions. Right? Record evergreen content. What does it mean? It means the time that you create the webinar should pay off long after the live season is over. You just have to plan for it to be used as an evergreen way. And there is some way, okay? You can use the slide deck and the presentation on multi-live webinars or recurring series. You can record the webinar once and then use replay as an opt-in incentive or as part of a course or education library. You can even use the recording as part of another event. Sorry, if you will be there for a Q&A. I'm sorry, the tips is a bit longer. I got confused. It's 7 tips, not 5. 7. Make the replay available in multiple formats. What does it mean? It means that people should get your webinar on multiple formats. The more accessible and inviting you make your replay experience, the more rich webinar will have. And since we can overcome webinar shock, getting as much reach we can is paramount. So, what advice would you take from what I told you just now to help your webinar host and knock their next events out of the pack? Share in the comments below and subscribe, motherfucker, for more tips for me. Great tips about marketing. See you in the next video.